we'll probably end up talking a lot about what we've been watching and good things to watch when you're just laying in bed or whatever. I think the latest thing that I've watched and my co-host here, Joshy's watched, is the Terminal List on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can stream it. It's one of their new originals, starring Chris Pratt, Taylor Kitsch. Um, and having watched the whole series, pretty cool. So it starts out when we start out, just a little bit of a warning. You do get a heavy dose of military industrial complex propaganda and like Pentagon talking points straight out of the gate. You're going to get your standard Iran bad, Syria bad. I think even they have a line of dialogue early in the show where something bad's happened and he's like, "Who was it? Russia, Syria, Iran, North Korea?" Like he makes a point to outline and list all the enemies that you should be paying attention to. So initially that was a little gross right off the jump. I was like, "Ugh, this is
Yeah.
some neocon talking points right away." Production wise, if you're going to try and do one of these military themed genres at all, and you want to use Humvees, the real uniforms, flat jackets, AR-15s, etc., the military will let you use all that for free as long as they approve your script. So, from a production producer standpoint, why not throw in a few of their talking points if it's going to save you, several million out of your budget? Uh, I think one of the only military shows to ever not get the script pre-approved was this old series on HBO, as some people might remember, Generation Kill. Uh, and that was one of Skarsgård's kids. Peter Skarsgård's kids was starred in it, and that was a really cool show. The director, it was a very much kind of anti-war, more realistic kind of storylines of like soldiers that are in the shit and how they really would feel about combat and those type of things. But the military did not like the script. So production wise, they actually had to go out and buy Humvees, buy uniforms from the Salvation Army, and retrofit everything to try and make it look as real. It makes, on one hand, it's kind of gross, and then on the other hand, it is totally understandable that you know budget wise, if you're trying to make something and you can save that much money by just inserting a little bit of propaganda into your script, it's a hard call to say that you would or wouldn't do that. Interesting to see Chris Pratt in the role because it's a very serious role and it's a very dark role for any actor. So casting wise, I almost didn't believe it initially for Chris Pratt to be in that role where he just doesn't seem tortured and sad like somebody with that many combat engagements under their belt would look. If you've ever met anybody that has a lot of engagements under their belt, they don't look like a happy character. They're not a really happy guy. Like they might have a kind of exterior facade that kind of masks some of that pain. But Chris Pratt's rich. Like he probably made over $100 million last year shooting Jurassic World and all the rest of these movies. It's hard to exude sadness when you're rich, like really, really mega rich, like Bugatti rich.
Yeah, he's
They're
won
not
already.
operators per se, but they've been, um, they were recon and he's seen some shit. And, uh, you know, he, you wouldn't know that he'd seen what he's seen, essentially. Like, I just remember, he's very, I don't know, he's quiet about what he's seen over like overseas and such. So he doesn't
Right.
like to talk about it. And you kind of got that from Chris a little bit because he was like, he was just like, more focused on his family and stuff when he got home. And then when he was like in the battlefield, he was totally like in the zone. But when he was home, he was the fatherly figure. Like he just shut off his military instinct. And that's kind of what most of them do, essentially. At least the ones that I know, that's what they've done in the past. They kind of just shut that off, but it doesn't the
And I did definitely feel that it was a researched role. Like I
oh,
definitely got
absolutely.
that feeling from it that he definitely took the time to go talk to a bunch of combat vets, to spend time with soldiers. Like you
Absolutely.
definitely got that feeling from him.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and that's why he's in the B range.
Essentially when he goes back and he starts going through the flashbacks and stuff of, all of the things and how it's kind of getting muddled with his real life versus what really happened. Uh, you know, it kind of almost gives us that whole like PTSD type thing that soldiers go through.
He didn't look hard enough, I guess. It was is just, and that's just a casting issue, but it's not because he's such a big name. But let me ask you this: so Taylor Kitsch, his best friend in the show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And shout out Friday Night Lights. Uh, Taylor Kitsch, not shout out John from Mars, but would he been if fame wasn't an object? Would Taylor Kitsch have been a better lead? He kind of has that better. I buy him as an operator more than I do Chris Pratt for whatever reason. And I don't know if it's a
I get
look
that.
thing
Yeah.
or just like Taylor's got sad eyes, you know? That was just initial like first reactions, I have to say. Like
Yeah.
as the show picked up and you kind of got into it, I bought Chris Pratt in that role more and more as the episodes went on.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah, I agree.
he grew on me. It felt more real. He did feel like there were moments where he kind of did have that look on his face, like nothing mattered.
Yeah.
Because like that's the vibe he had to try and put out is like
Absolutely.
he was made like zero lined everything and like
Oh yeah.
he was a goat. He was a dead man walking, right? He's a guy that has nothing to lose and makes a shit list. And to be in that situation, to be in that kind of state of mind where you would really do something like that in real life, you have to be a guy with nothing to lose. And there's a certain look about you uh,
And
when,
he played that look extremely well later on in
yeah,
the
it
film.
did get better. It, I think maybe we were seeing actually his growth as an actor as the episodes went on. You know, maybe
Probably.
he got better at the role by episode 5, 6, 7.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
so here's another question: is it just a dude show? Like, do women want to watch Terminal List?
Well,
Probably not.
I will say I turned it on and I was gonna have try to have my girlfriend watch it with me, but she passed out on the
She
couch, so
wasn't into it, right?
she wasn't
It's
really into it. No.
it's a dude. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this show's for
It's a dude
dudes.
show. It's a dude show for
It's
sure.
a dude show, and it's a satisfying dude show. As a dude, when you watch this show, the moments in other not dude shows where they would normally pull back,
Yeah.
they don't pull back. They fully go for it, and it's super satisfying.
Oh, absolutely.
When you get to this dude moment, and you're like, do it.
Just do
And normally in a non dude show, they would not do it. In
it.
this show, they do it,
They
and it's
do it.
satisfying, and you're
They
like,
do it.
yeah, he did
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
I'd say for bros, this show's totally a watch. And good on Chris Pratt for actually trying to act because he doesn't really get a chance to do that in a lot of those big budget
Kudos, Chris
movies.
Pratt.
Chris Pratt's got also a little, just a little more love for the Pratt. He does have a pretty broad acting experience. Like a lot of younger people might not know that he comes from Parks and Rec, which was a comedy, and he was great in that.
He
And
was. He was great in that. He was probably one of my favorite characters in it.
yeah, he has some just hilarious moments and hilarious jokes. And then Star Killer really made him right. That was the jumping off point.
I mean,
And
it's kind of crazy too, is because he didn't really change his character all that much from uh Parks and Rec to Star Killer because they were both kind of goofy characters essentially.
yeah, what's that? Star Lord. Jeez,
Oh
did we
yeah,
just?
Star Killer. My
You
bad.
know why
Yeah,
Star
Star
Killer's
Lord.
on the mind is because there's rumor that they're making Star Killer.
Oh shit. Oh really?
Yeah, and it was going to be Christian Bale is the rumor I heard.
Galen Merrick, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale as Star Killer. Tomorrow War also was another good one that he's starred in for Amazon recently. Um, that movie's a little bit older, but that was great as far as the aliens were super cool. It was good. It was good action.
Yeah.
The story got a little wonky in places once the Terminator timeline got kind of introduced, and we're going back and forward in time, and
Aren't they making a second one?
I think they might be.
Isn't
They
that the rumor? I heard that there was a second one coming out for it
they,
because
they might be.
something to do with his daughter doesn't like him anymore. I can't remember.
Well, that's what happened in actually the first one or whatever. So to wrap up on Terminal List, though, I think it's a solid watch for the bros. Chris Pratt does pretty good. It's a satisfying show.
Absolutely.
I would totally recommend it. I recommend it to another bro.